Volunteering has changed my life. I'm 87 years old, I'm healthy, and I'm happy. Woo. But that was not always the case. At the age of 6, my parents abandoned me, each to pursue another partner. I was devastated. I felt unloved, uncared for. I lost my confidence. I blame myself on this happening. And this feeling of abandonment was to play a big part in my formative years. But the good news, the great news, is that this experience was to give me so much compassion for young people, which otherwise I may never have acquired. And it propelled me to become a teacher, as I felt that I could make an impact on the lives of young people. And guess what, folks? I'm still teaching math after 60 years and with the same passion. And my wife, bless her, claims that I'll be teaching trigonometry on my deathbed. I vividly recall my first year of teaching in England during the era of segregation. Boys in one school, girls in another. I was assigned a Math 9 class. And many of my colleagues were quick to caution me that this class was unteachable. And I found that all 35 boys were under police probation. So I realized that I would have to be very creative to motivate them. And I hit upon the idea of posting their work on the walls of the classroom. And it worked. The boys bought into this. And each time they produced an extremely neat assignment or a clearly crafted graph, their work would be posted on the walls. And soon, the walls were ablaze with meticulous assignments. And the boys would walk in eagerly every morning, scouring the walls for their latest masterpiece. I felt good about that. 2 months into the school year, we arrived in the morning to find that the school had been closed. It had been totally ransacked. And the police were called in to assess the carnage. They methodically worked their way around all the classrooms until eventually they reached my room. And guess what they found? It was perfect. Not a single piece of paper out of place. The police had constructively found the culprits. During the next few years, I realized that I wanted to give my students some more educational experiences. And so I decided that I would travel to other countries and observe their educational system. My first port of call was Guatemala. And on my first day there, I walked into the principal's office, looking forward to this. And in my smattering of Spanish, I said, look, I'm a math teacher from Canada, and I would like to observe a class. Dios mío, he exclaimed. My math teacher is sick today. He grabbed my arm and dragged me to a nearby classroom, which was crammed with students. There were students standing up at the back, eagerly awaiting their math teacher. I looked round at the principal and stammered, but where is my seat for observing the class? You are the teacher, he cried. My students gleefully and joyfully led me through the lesson. They were delightful. And thus, my international teaching career was born. But more importantly, it gave me a great sense of the wondrous joys of volunteering. During the next few years, I was privileged to volunteer teaching in Ethiopia, Zimbabwe, Jamaica, Mexico, and each one presented a unique experience of volunteering. And also, I learned a lot about the cultures. I learned an awful lot about myself. Now, at this time, I wanted a different kind of experience, volunteering experience. I have always had an aspiration to help in an orphanage for abandoned children. And interestingly, I had located one in Guatemala when I was teaching there. And I walked into the orphanage on my first day, and I was astonished by the seemingly endless rows of cots, each containing an abandoned child, many of whom were abandoned on the steps of the orphanage, wrapped in newspaper and little more. My role was to entertain the children, to talk to them, to play with them, to love them. And I spent a lot of time with one child in particular, Eric. He had never spoken a word in his life. And Eric lay listlessly on his back, gazing at the ceiling, hardly moving a muscle. And my heart went out to Eric. And I wondered at the time what would become of Eric. About a dozen years later, I was asked to talk in Vancouver about my volunteering experiences. And I chose Guatemala, the orphanage, because that had had such a profound effect on me. And as I began to speak, I noticed a very well-dressed man in the audience with tears glistening down his face. And at the end of my talk, I asked for any questions, or would someone like to come to the front? And this gentleman walked to the front, faced the audience, and said, "I adopted a child from an orphanage in Guatemala." As the audience visibly gasped, he lovingly related the story of this child, who is now 15 years of age. He was on the school honor roll. He played sports avidly, and he was loved by his peers. And then he gently touched my arm and proclaimed, "I am the proud father of the same Eric." Sorry, it brings tears to my eyes when I think about this. As we grow older, we find that we are closer to our humanity. Mahatma Gandhi once articulated, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. There's a rich repository of volunteering experiences for us all. We can help in a food bank. We can teach English to an immigrant. We can mentor a disabled child. We can raise funds for charities. We can spend time with a senior. The number of seniors is growing at an astonishing rate. Many of them suffer from social isolation and exclusion. They need our help. Volunteering gave me the platform for significant personal growth. And my many experiences of volunteering made a huge impact on my life. Since my teens, I've been a volunteer in some capacity, and I can claim with conviction that one of the most powerful ways of enriching the lives of others is to give to our community. Volunteering has become even more important in my later years, helping me to gain a deep sense of interaction with others. As we age, we are all looking for purpose in our lives. Volunteering has given me this purpose, and I know that it can have a huge effect on you also. Volunteering has changed my life. Thank you.